Well, good morning, Freedom Team. Hope everybody's coming off a great weekend. We are in February. It's time to buckle down, guys. 1 month has already gone by, 11 months left. Thank God we have these kind of things almost every day of the week for you to plug in, hopefully to motivate, inspire, reignite, whatever you need to have to kind of turn you on. But I'll tell you what, we do this every week, but the gentleman we have coming on, this guy's got a incredible background. So let's kick this thing off with Mr. Randy, which we're so appreciative of you coming here, my friend. Let me give you a little bit of his background, guys. So Randy Dyck is a renowned real estate leader, speaker, and founder at the eXimus real estate team, Realtor Collective, and Scientific Scaling Systems. With over 30 years experience as a top producer in the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board, Randy has sold over 7,000 homes and earned numerous accolades, including the XP Icon Award, the REMAX Circle of Legends Award, a ranking among the top 6 REMAX teams in Canada, and recognition as one of the top 200 agents in the country. Randy's current focus is Scientific Scaling Systems, a coaching program designed to help agents attract the right clients by leveraging prospecting lanes tailored to their personalities. This innovative approach empowers agents to scale their business effectively while staying true to themselves. Randy's passion for mentorship also drives his work with eXp Realty, where he launched a legacy building movement in 2019. Today, he supports a growing network of 623 worldwide legacy partners, with approximately 20 new partners joining each month. At the at the host of the Return of Life podcast, a prolific content creator, Randy inspires professionals and entrepreneurs globally through seminars and workshops advocating the financial independence and personal fulfillment. Outside of his professional endeavors, Randy embraces a spiritual adventure. From kite surfing to skiing, he leads a dynamic, active lifestyle reflecting his commitment to living to the fullest. You can also find him enjoying time with his wife, kids, and grandkids. Well, we appreciate it, Randy. Thank you so much for jumping on, buddy.
Gosh, I better tell my assistant to tune that down a little bit. That seemed a little long, but
I'm
it's
sure
great to
you'll be
be
able to
here.
walk through the door of your house when we're done here. You're
Yeah.
awesome background, brother. Appreciate you, man. Congrats on all
Uh,
your success. Um, why don't we kick things off here? And anything else that you'd like to share personally about you and so forth, and then maybe take us on a journey of what it was like when you first got into real estate, kind of what that journey was like, maybe up to the point of right before joining EXP.
oh, great question. Well, I'm a serial underdog. I've been an underdog all my life, and of course, if you met me today or interviewed me in such a way, and I said I'm an underdog, most people would say no. But most underdogs find their way into a different realm at some point. And so I'm actually writing a book actually on the underdog DNA, and hope to have that out later this spring. But boy, my journey was tough to start with, but that's what really made me who I am today. At 14, I broke my neck and was paralyzed from the neck down, and found my way back to get all this stuff going again. And had a number of crucible moments along the way. And one of those was starting real estate as well. And so in 1992, broke, the bank knocking on the door, a mortgage payment, a car payment, a child, another child on the way. I had nothing, but I just got to go and do it. My why, my only why was, how do I make a sale to, keep the bank away from taking our house and changing everything in our lives. So um, I worked my tail off, and hard work, good work, honest work, and just treating people fairly generally brings good results. And so here I am, about 7,000 sales later, and really enjoying everything that I've been gifted and given and blessed with.
Wonderful. And so did you start off, were you at multiple brokerages before ever coming to EXP, or kind of take us along that journey, how you first.
Yeah. I started into a small little boutique kind of real estate company. There was 28 agents there. It was kind of the place to be in my hometown of Abbotsford, BC. Well, not my hometown, the town that I was working in real estate. I grew up in Alberta, another town. But anyways, and gosh, I was a pretty big fish in that little office, and I thought, man, I'm a big fish. And then one day we made a change and we moved to Remax as an entire office. I was one of the owners in that office eventually, and I just thought this is not the place to be. I don't like being an owner broker. The
Mm.
money wasn't great. In fact, all I felt like I was doing was babysitting adults. and I just wanted to go out and make some deals, make some business happen. So we moved to Remax, and then I realized that I was really a small fish because I was now in a very, very big pond. And that's where I was meeting people that were selling three, four, 500 homes a year. And I thought, gosh, if they can do it, why can't I? And so I just started doing, the old R&D, rip off and duplicate, just followed what they were doing, and eventually found my way to selling 400 plus homes a year. And that was great. And I loved everything about Remax. It really did change my mindset and what I was capable of and the people I met. But along the way, about in the mid 2015, 2016, 2017, I started really questioning what I was doing. And I thought, there's got to be more to this thing called real estate than just another commission or another 400 commissions in a year, or whatever it was. And I thought to myself, I kept calling this thing a business, my business. And how many of us always call our real estate our business? But I realized one day that it really wasn't a business. It was just a career. I had a career, no different than a pro athlete. And the
Mhm.
day that that athlete can't run fast enough, shoot the ball well enough, score goals, whatever it may be, is the day that the club says, listen,
Mhm.
your days are over. Your career is over. And I realized that I really just had a career because I couldn't really leave this thing that I was calling a business for more than 10 days without something kind of going sideways. And so I thought, if it's really truly a business, I could leave this for 10 days, a month, a year, if I had good people, good systems, and come back and it was actually running and functioning better and maybe making more money. So that's when I really got curious. I got to change this. I got to find a better way to do this thing called real estate. And gosh, I thought about it, this thing called a real estate license, a piece of paper. What happens if I don't make it home tonight? What is my family? What is my, estate receive from now, 27 years of selling real estate? Nothing, nothing. And I got, gosh, I'm smarter than this. I got to figure this out. And it was about that time where my curiosity was at an all-time peak trying to figure this out that EXP entered my world. And a friend that I've been doing referral business with said, Randy, I know where you're at. And I go, what do you mean you know where I'm at? Well, I know that you question how much longer you're going to do this. I know that you question how do you leverage this beyond just, pouring yourself into it each and every day. And I know that you train, take people from zero to hero in your team, and then they leave and become your competitor. And that's probably the hardest thing for you, Randy. And I said, you're right. You're right. That is the hardest thing. I've trained and had people come and glean and leave like multiple times in the tune of 40, 50, 60 different agents have done that over the course of those 20 years. So EXP was such an easy connect for me. And in fact, within 20 minutes, I knew I was moving to EXP after being at Remax for almost 20 years. And that's the hard thing for me today. I think it was so clear, so simple, yet it's so difficult for people to see it when they're not at EXP. Yet when you come to EXP, you go, how come nobody can see this so clearly? But I guess that's my curiosity. And that's one of the greatest gifts that we're given as children. God gave us the gift of curiosity, yet somewhere along the way we go and park it. We put it in a drawer. We say, "Oh, I'm an adult now. I'm not supposed to be curious." But we should be curious like, our children are with us. Daddy, daddy, what about this? What about that? And yet we don't. So that's a bit of my journey through real estate in the early years and the mid years and the late years, and then finding EXP. And gosh, it's been 6 years now, and what a blessing it's been.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that story. Let's go to how were you approached? I know you said a good friend. Did so you guys just connected through that referral? He reached back out to you, began to just kind of share from a high
Yeah,
level of your pain and what this could be about.
it was a referral partner that I had, and I really didn't know him that well. But whenever he had a referral in his area for my area, he'd always send it to me. And and I didn't even know him that well because, I was working at such a high level, and I was so busy that it was just often a email or a phone call into my one of my assistants that would set up the whole referral program and take care of that. And then one day he said, "We really need to talk. It's not about a referral." And that was Phil Hahn. And Phil said to me, "Listen, I know you're probably having some pain in your real estate team. I mean, all teams go through this cycle of bring somebody in, teach them everything you learn, they glean everything, and then they become your competitor. Are you experiencing that?" That was the rock in my shoe, the pebble in my shoe that was bothering me, and I was just so tired of it. And in fact, I'd had two people that I took from zero to hero in the last year that walked in my office just a few weeks before this phone call and said, "Thanks for everything, Randy." And I don't know if there's any team leads on here, but this is really, really common. Whenever I go away for 10 days, it was like the world thought that hey, I really don't need Randy in my life to lead me and guide me and give me all this, you know, these leads or whatever it may be. And so, when I came back from holidays, often I get this, "Hey, Rand, you got 20 minutes." And I knew exactly where it was going. "Thanks for everything. You've been so wonderful, but I'm going to go on my own."
Yeah, that's definitely got to be painful. I've never experienced it, but I've heard this story multiple times.
Yeah.
So definitely EXP can help take care of that. So let's go to the early days. So you come on board. Did you bring a good portion of your team with you? And what did that first year look like? Did you immediately jump into attraction, or was it really full board production? Kind of would that look like first year?
Yeah, so I've had a team of anything from myself, of course, and just an assistant, all the way up to 28 agents. And what I found was most productive was a team of 3 to 4 agents, including myself. That's where my net was always the best. Yet sometimes our egos take over and we want to be larger than that. But at the time when I made the move over, I had 2 other agents. They're still both with me. Um, and, there was a little bit of hesitation on their part because I'd sold the Remax model so heavily. It's so important to have this big brand, this brand is helping us do all this business. And so it took a little while for them to understand. And in fact, there was a time that I thought, maybe they might not come with me, but I was okay with that because I saw the bigger picture. I saw the vision of what this could become. And so we moved over. In fact, my broker owner was aggressively trying to disrupt their thinking and tell them that Randy's lost his marbles and there's just no way that this little company called, what is this, ESP? Or because I was the very, very first in my market to move. So I was not only, I was, really a trailblazer because I was the first in our market to make that move over to EXP. So, what I did first off is within 2 weeks, I held my own event, sharing with anybody that would come. And I had about 65, 70 people show up that I was moving to EXP, or I'd moved to EXP. And this is what EXP offered that no other brokerage was offering. I did convert a few from that event. I had another individual, I remember, he just couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to join. And he and his wife, they're both realtors that came in and they're going to join that day. And then they said, "But we're going to New York. We're getting engaged in New York, and so we'll take care of everything when we come back." Guess what? They're still not here. They are still not here. Yet they get it so well. Um, but I just was in production. I was heavy in production at that point, and so anytime I had an opportunity to speak with an agent, I'd always just share a little bit about EXP. Um, One thing I did learn through that process that, I could be gravitational with my leadership qualities and my EXP pitch, or I could be repulsive.
Hmm.
And I think most of us have probably been there where we get so excited that it's almost repulsive in how we do respond. But enthusiasm is, a really great recipe for having people be interested. And of course, selling as many homes as I have in my career, at that point. Now I have a business. You know, I always wanted to be the very best agent in every deal. How can I be the best agent in every deal, whether it's a brand new agent, a crusty old agent that was difficult to deal with? How do I become the glue that keeps these deals together and be the very, very best agent in every deal? And so that gave me a lot of bandwidth to call a lot of people, to have a lot of people, you know, be curious enough to sit with me, to listen to me. And so, attraction was what I was really working for. And if I could go back, I might have stayed a little bit longer in production. Been slowly moving out of production. And today, my production is not that great. I maybe sell 10, 12 properties a year now, and they're just the selective properties. I'm working on a couple of pretty big deals. You know, you know, tens of millions, even one that's over 100 million. That's kind of stuff I want to work with today, and then I push everything else to the team. But in hindsight, maybe staying in production a little bit longer would have helped my attraction a little bit better because you're just in connection with more people. And so, I averaged about two and a half agents per month of frontline attraction over the first 4 years or so. And so, um, I I've attracted well over 150 personally in my front line over the years. That slowed down recently, and I think part of that is the market conditions. There's a lot more EXP agents out there now sharing the good news. And so I think it's just a little bit harder to attract in some cases. And I want to push more and more to my organization as well. So I'll find somebody reaches out to me and I'll make sure that they've connected with somebody in my organization so they can get the win as well. So we both can win in that way.
Gotcha, gotcha. Let's if you don't mind, maybe dig a little deeper into the dialogue of you. Obviously you've done so many transactions. Is that how most of your business started, with the attraction? We're talking to agents on the other side of a transaction. And if so, if you don't mind, just kind of walking through, how did you massage that and get to where you eventually invited them to take a look?
Yeah, well, a lot of the agents that initially brought to EXP or helped see EXP was, you know, um, agents that I knew were struggling with some of the same thoughts that I had. They've been grinding it out, and what does the end look like? What does that look like? What succession look like? And that's what I basically asked. Do you have a succession plan? And of course, they'd all say, "Oh yeah, I have a succession plan." Well, let's dig into it. What does that look like? I'll share mine. You share yours. And so succession plan would be, well, I'm buying lots of real estate. I'm buying as much real estate as I can for my succession plan. I said, well, that's great, but anybody can build that succession plan. But what's the succession plan around your real estate license? You've been now doing this 10 years, 12 years, 8 years, 20 years. What value do you see with your real estate license? What is it worth to you? What's it worth to you if something godforsaken happens to you and you can't work, health, whatever it may be? Well, I've never thought of that, Randy. Well, you should think about that because, life just keeps moving along. And at some point, you're going to either tire or retire. And what does that look like? How are you going to support not only yourself, but your family, or maybe even your generation beyond that, grandchildren, so forth? Well, I'm going to do that through real estate. I know, but what about this thing called a real estate license, this piece of paper? What's it worth? What's it worth? Well, it's not worth anything. Exactly. Can I show you a way to make it worth something?
Hmm.
Would you be open? Would you be curious? And I often talk about curiosity because that's really important. I have this saying, you got to be a cat. You got to be curious, ambitious, and tenacious in life. Curious, ambitious, and tenacious. And so I'd often, bring the concept. And I was really fortunate because I was, the top agent in my marketplace for so many years that, I could make a phone call and people would pick up. They weren't afraid to pick up. They wanted to pick up my call. So I was very fortunate that. I did a lot of EXP Explains. I would do EXP Explains in my office every week. I'd gather people together, and I also found it more advantageous to have 4 or 5 people rather than just one-on-ones because it would draw some attention. And you make sure that you've got one person in that group that is really switched on, that thinks there's a lot of quality here
Yeah.
to what EXP is, because that would bring better energy into the room and better questions. So I did a lot of EXP Explains. Every week I do an EXP Explain. I was doing webinars as well about EXP Explain. Didn't have much success in that. Didn't have too much success in that, but it was the one-on-ones that I could get people into my office.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's fast forward. You guys feel free to ask any questions. But let's fast forward. And I know you're starting to get into the funnels and stuff. We'll put that on a brakes for just a minute. Before that started, before you pulled the trigger on that, the last year or so, bringing us up to sort of today's date, where, like you said, it might be maybe more difficult. Some will disagree with that, Randy. Some will say it's easier right now. Again, you're getting mixed, I guess, reviews on that. But is anything you've been doing different here the last year or so, again, prior to starting with the funnels, being that the awareness is out there? And let me make a comment I just want to bring up when you said this. I know that came out of a Robert Kiyosaki book, maybe out of another one, when he said, "You want to know if you truly own your own business? Can you
Yes.
walk away for a year, come back, and it's maintained or grew?" And you ask that to a realtor, and we all know the answer. 99% are going to say no, they can't walk
Yeah.
away within 10
Yeah.
days.
I would use the Kiyosaki 4 quadrants, right? As
Exactly.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing maybe the last year, year and a half, again, a little bit more recent,
Yeah.
23, 24. What were you doing to attract any different today than you were doing just a few years ago?
Yeah. And I should back up. I did a lot of agent events. So what I called Realtor Collective. And what I would do is I'd host an event and I'd put agents on stage for 20 minutes at a time. And I would handpick agents that were not necessarily EXP agents. I picked 50% EXP agents and 50% non-EXP agents that I wanted to attract EXP. And I gave them a stage to share how they were doing business. And it was all about prospecting. How do you prospect? So I'd have specialists in pop buys, specialists in online, specialists in working with seniors, whatever it may be, and gave them that. And so I've done those for years and years and years. And that's been a lot of fun, but just also a lot of opportunity to put a lot of people in the room that wouldn't normally come. We talk very little about EXP. I don't want it to be an EXP event. I want it to be a value added event. And so everything that I've always done is how do I bring more value to somebody else? And so in the last year or so, I started going, gosh, I've been training, coaching, mentoring people for 25 years. And yes, when they're on the team, I do win financially that way. But now I was doing a lot of that with agents that were part of an EXP organization or my organization. And so about a year ago, I thought, gosh, I gotta monetize this in such a way to make it worthwhile. And I just found that if it wasn't monetized, if people didn't have skin in the game, they just didn't do the work.
Hmm.
They got to have skin in the game. And so I started thinking about how to monetize what I was doing the past 30 years and 7,000 sales and the way I was doing real estate. And so back in June, July, I started thinking about how do I build a high ticket coaching program. And then I launched it in late fall of this year. And now I'm doing that. So Scientific Scaling Systems is the coaching program. And we've got a funnel system that draws agents in to see what we're doing. And then, of course, we do discovery calls. And I've backed away from pushing EXP in that area just to give value, give them coaching, level up their game. I've got 2 guarantees. I'm either going to 10x your investment, or I'm going to, help you sell 3 homes a month and 36 homes a year. That's always been my standard for anybody that was on my team. You got to be on my team. You're going to be on my team. You got to sell 3 homes a month. There's no point in being on my team. I give you all these resources, tools, and education Why don't you sell 3 homes? So that's what I've been doing in the last little while. And I backed away a little bit from pushing EXP with any of these students that I'm bringing on. And what I
Mhm.
want to do is just level their game up. And then the conversation around EXP is really an easy conversation. And it's almost, you know, a natural conversation after they've been in dialogue with me a few months and winning in a way they've never won before.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's definitely an honor and a privilege, man, to be able to do that, to coach and so forth. Over here, I got a couple questions come in from Toy. What did you rip off and duplicate from the agents at Remax to get to 300 to 400 transactions?
Oh, yeah, good question. I just started following the top producers. So I went to my first conference and I met guys that were selling 400, 500 homes, and I thought, wow, how do they do this? So I just started building relationships with them and just started following what they're doing in the marketing plan. Um, some ways it's much, much easier today to do it. However, what was interesting about doing it back then is I believe it cost more money to become a top producer in the days of the late 90s, early 2000s, because a lot of it was print. We did a lot of print, a lot of billboards, a lot of radio. Um, I mean, I've done everything but TV. I've been on TV, but I didn't advertise on TV. And so all of those things cost a lot of money. So you needed dollars to make it happen. Today, a lot of the top producers are finding their way through social media, which is actually a very economical way to build a very, very successful business if you put the time in. Now, I think it's more competitive in some ways because the entry is not so high as far as money.
Mhm.
But I just did everything they were doing. And in fact, what I was started doing was just following some of the most successful retail businesses and just started copycatting everything that they were doing. They were doing flyers, I was doing flyers. They were doing door hangers, I was doing door hangers. They were doing radio, I was doing radio. They were doing billboards, I was doing billboards. So I did a lot of that. But coming back to scientific scaling, a lot of what I did and how I grew my team, how I did a lot of production was really around the art of understanding who my avatar. Now, back then, the avatar, what's an avatar? I called it the perfect client that I wanted showing up each and every morning. And so I built it to such a way that anybody on my team had their own perfect client. And we would have people just show up at our office and literally walk in and say, I want to see Randy. Do you have an appointment? No, I don't. I just want to see Randy. So I'd sit with them and they would literally say, like almost right out of the gate, Randy, I have my own real estate agent for my own personal property, but you are my investment realtor. I want you to be my investment realtor. Will you be my investment realtor? Because one of my avatars was an investor. And so I found my way to be in rooms where there'd be 400 investors every month. And I
Mm.
just worked my way to being the guy, even though there's often 30 and 40 realtors in those rooms. The way that I would connect with the people running the organization, giving them value. And then they would just say, well, Randy, why don't you give the value? Why don't you get up on stage and share about the market where we should be investing? And so, they would just show up at my office as if, um, I was their investment minded realtor, but they would keep their realtor for their personal property. It was quite remarkable. And, I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but in 1992, Floyd Wickman tape, when I started, was put into the VCR. And I was told, watch this and learn everything about what Floyd Wickman is telling you, and then go and do it, which was basically chase, connect, convince, close. Does anybody remember those days where it was just like get out there and meet as many people and convince them that you're the best real estate agent in your town, and then close, close, close. ABC, always be closing. And so I, through scientific scaling, this is what we do. We actually reverse that where we build it so the client is actually connecting with us, convincing us, and closing us as agents. That's scientific scaling systems in a nutshell. Know who you are, know your passion lanes, your value graphics, know your avatar intimately, granular, net worth, color of their eyes, color of their hair, what they drive, where they go for holidays, where they eat, that granular, because then we're going to start manifesting those people to show up. And then we build prospecting lanes that these people fall in, which is really what I call the commission rivers. That's my commission river. And then all of the social media, all of the branding, everything is aimed at that avatar, and they fall into the commission river and float right into your office and say, "You're my chosen agent." Not your chump, my chosen agent.
So it's interesting when you start thinking of the way where a lot of us are starting to approach business by narrowing down that avatar. You may be getting rid of a larger audience, but you're bringing in the audience that you connected to way faster by
Right.
narrowing it down to whatever that might be, whatever.
And this works for agent attraction as well. Pick your avatar. Who is your avatar that you want to attract for agent attraction? Who do you want to recruit? And get so granular that you can see the color of their eyes, color of their hair. What brokerage are they at? Like, get that granular and then build out lanes that they will flow into and make sure all your marketing is aimed at that specific avatar, your branding.
It's almost like if we elaborate on that, it's almost like maybe you're part of a single moms organization. Maybe you're part of a Christian. We have a lady on our team who leads a Bible study around real estate every Monday morning. So find that little niche, dial it down more. Anybody want to ask some more questions about that? And let me ask you real quick, Randy, before I jump on that. Every Tuesday morning, we also have a guest come on, and it's more about around production. Obviously, I
Mm,
know you're fading out of it, but you've done some unbelievable things. Would you be open in the next few months if we had you come back on a Tuesday morning to share with?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
done. So let's dig a little deeper. Anybody got questions kind of around?
Once you've done production, you always do production.
Yeah, exactly. More questions digging deeper on this whole avatar thing, because that's very interesting. I'd like to take it over to the attraction side. Have you done that now? Because you said you're looking for your ideal avatar. Have you narrowed that down on the attraction side? And if so, do you mind sharing what are you doing today in regards to that?
Yeah. Well, your avatar is probably somebody that's very similar to you because you can relate to that individual so easily. And so my avatar that I choose, that is my choice, is a team lead that is, struggled with the same things I struggled with, the same questions that I was challenging myself with, gosh, this ain't a career. I mean, this isn't a business. This is a career. How come I have to train, coach, mentor, and then they leave after 12 or 18 months is kind of the duration that a lot of these agents would leave because I would get them to 14, I mean, sorry, to 25, 35, 40 ends in the first year, and then they would leave. So that's my avatar. And so, I am connecting with this avatar, this team lead often just saying, "Hey, how can I serve and help you?" I'm now coaching. Do you mind if I coach your agents? Have you ever thought about having an avatar for each one of your agents on your team? Because that's why I really developed that, because I realized that I can't create mini Randys. There's only, so many Randys or so many me's. And somebody comes in with different values and different passions. And so, like for instance, I had a guy on my team. He was a gearhead. He just loved cars. So finally, I just said, "Well, this is your avatar. It's another gearhead. Let's go and build out something for gearheads." And so my avatar, when it comes to the game of real estate and attracting for EXP, is another team lead.
So maybe we could go down that trail deeper if you guys like to about what you're doing with when you call team leaders, unless somebody else has another question. Because I think a lot of us would love to not go onesie twosie if we could, bring on a team or so forth. So would you mind maybe going a little bit granular with that? I know they
Yeah,
may know you in your market, but you probably have you ever reach out to anybody that doesn't know Randy, or do you really focus on your market of people who know of your background?
that's a great question. First of all, with the avatar, it has to be authentic to you. Like, you know, if you're going to play in a field that is not necessarily your avatar, it's a little bit hard. Like if I wasn't a team lead to talk to team leads, I'd have to have a lot of research and data to back up what I'm saying. Now I can just move forward with that and say, listen, I know exactly where you're at. I've had upwards of 28 agents on my team. I understand what a large mega team is like. I understand what a small team's like. So it's really easy avatar. If it's not your avatar, you're going to have to be a little bit more schooled up, so to speak, and have more data and maybe even have an alliance with another team lead to help you with that. Yeah.
Interesting. So do you guys here in the group, Toy, Kel, anybody want to dig deeper on that, or we want to go another direction with some questions? And again, thank you so much, Randy, for doing this. You've definitely got a very strong background that I think some people might go, well, man, he's got such incredible credibility and a coach, and it's easier for him to attract. And sometimes I like to try to get around that,
Yeah.
right? You got some people have come in and have no background and they've built a group, but maybe I turn around and ask you the question if you're an agent on here that doesn't have your kind of credibility, they haven't coached, they haven't sold thousands of houses, what might you share with them today if they're wanting to start building
Mhm.
traction? What would you do, coach, to kind of
Yeah.
coach them along?
Well, and that's why I really started scientific scaling systems is because you burn through, it's no different than as a new agent. You get all the gimmies, right? The uncle, the aunt, the sister, the brother are in production. Well, I've kind of exhausted a lot of the people to touch a lot of people about EXP. I mean, I've had so many conversations locally, and now it's just a matter of nurturing those conversations. But for I have to go find new people to have new conversations with. And so, you know, there you've got to bring some value. And so if I'm calling somebody in Phoenix, Arizona that doesn't know who Randy is, I got to have something of value other than just, hey, EXP this and EXP that, because a lot of people have now heard about EXP. So what's the value? What's the connectivity? As Floyd Wickman would say, the safe island that you guys can both hang out on
Mm.
and learn from each other or help that person level up. And so this is where I think it's really important to, always be thinking, what kind of leader am I? I have this saying L4. I need to be an L4 leader, which is reverse engineering leadership, which is how I can help others. So I always need to be learning something new about the game of real estate, if it's real estate that I'm leading in. How can I be at the top of my game, whether that's social media, prospecting, whatever it is? I need to continually be a student, be at the top of my game. Then I need to allow others to leverage all of my knowledge and expertise. So for me, that was quite easy to do that and still is because of I can say, hey, I've sold 7,000 sales, like leverage everything that I've done, and you should have some success. But the last piece, which is really important for me, it's learn, leverage, and then legacy. How do I build legacy in somebody else's life? How do I help them get legacy? It's about legacy. This is why we're here. And so if I've created those or given those three things, I've learned, so I've been able to give, I've allowed them to leverage everything that I've learned along the way, and I've helped them create their own legacy story, then I can say I'm a true leader. So that's how I approach that. And so I think if you're out there attracting and you don't know that person, they somehow need to get that message fairly clearly that you're here to bring value to their lives and create legacy in their lives through what you can provide and give to them.
I, I hate to keep coming back and try to dig deeper, but I don't know if anybody else is going. All right, you obviously are very gifted. First of all, I want to say this: you got a real genuine, very genuine personality. So I
Mm.
think that's definitely been probably helped you along the way with all these incredible number of transactions and now your big team. Um, I'm trying to go a little deeper. So if some of
Let
these,
me let me share. This is a really cool concept.
uh,
Ask yourself this question. Look in the mirror if you have to. How do I personally buy something from somebody? How do I as a consumer buy? If somebody came to me and asked me to buy something, how would I buy? That is generally how we sell. So if you overanalyze, if you slow down the process, you back up the bus, let me think about it. That is probably how you're going to sell, which is there's nothing wrong with that, but just know that that's the way you're going to be effective. If you can move forward quickly. So, and I've challenged myself a couple of times in this. I used to be a lot more aggressive in buying than I am today. And so I would say that I was a lot more aggressive in selling, partly due I didn't have a lot of time. How do I get to the next appointment? You got to, folks, you got to do this today, right now, right here. Let's go. Come on, sign the documentation, authorize it today. We'll get it up on the market tomorrow. Today, I've organized my life where I have a little bit more time and I've slowed down my process. But I think that's also been a bit of a detriment in my attraction. Think about that.
Yeah.
How we buy is how we sell. Our persona reflects what and who we are.
So it's a little probably a slower burn for you today. That same thing about what's your new why, right? You're pretty darn comfortable, excuse me, with almost 7,000 or excuse me, 700 agents. That's a very nice little paycheck coming to you on a monthly basis. So
Yeah.
what do you do then to keep yourself from becoming comfortable? And
Mm-hmm.
I got to continue to grow this thing. Got to lead my team. How do I maintain retention?
Yeah.
You're at a point now where it's a big
Yeah.
group. I'm sure you want to grow it, but like you said, things are slowing down for you on purpose because you're at a point in life. So what are you doing to maintain your organization and then still continue to grow even
Right.
though you slow down a
So I
little?
need to be motivated every day. So of course I play games. I don't know if you can see this chart. It says
Marbles?
wannabe. It says
Yeah.
wannabe.
Yeah.
And of course it's February 3rd. I've just put the 250 marbles in this jar and I'm trying to move them to this jar, which says master. So urgency and compression of goals are really, really important. So whenever I have a money making conversation, which could be about EXP, it could be about my coaching program, but anytime I have a money making conversation, I move a marble from the wannabe to the master jar. And I'm trying to move 250 marbles every month. Urgency and compression. I write my goals on money.
Hmm.
I write my why on the other side. This is a $100 Canadian bill. I wish I could get $1,000, a $10,000 bill because it would mean more. See, we have to put emotion into everything we do. And by putting it on money, my goals have an emotional value with me all the time. I write them down. Writing them down is 42% more probability of them coming true. I have to rewrite this because I carry this in my pocket all the time. So when the fear and uncertainty and doubt of what I'm doing enters my mind, I reach into my pocket and go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Randy, this is why you're doing it. This is why your why is to lead with purpose, empower others, and live a life of impact, adventure, and meaningful connections. That's my why. On my other side, I've got my goals. So at the very, very top is EXP 10, 100, 1600. I want to onboard. So I'm 10xing my goals rather than 2xing. And 10 is a lot in a month personally to onboard. But I want to shoot big. I want to
Hmm.
go for the stars, right? If I land on the moon, great. So I want to have a goal of 10 per month joining my organization personally and 100 in my organization through my org, and I want to be to 1600. So that's 1,000 more than I have today by the end of the year. That's my EXP, and then I've got my coach. I want to onboard 40 agents every month into my coaching program, which is 480 for the year. So I mean, let's go big.
Big audacious goals.
Yes,
Love it. I
yes.
love it.
So
Yeah, I definitely agree. You got to at least begin with the end in mind, even if it's a big, audacious goal. So let's back that up for a minute, like you
yes,
do as a coach. So you want to have 10 frontline agents joining every month.
Yes.
What does that look like on a daily basis for you to make that kind of volume happen?
Well, what was happening prior to Scientific Scaling Systems as a coaching program is I was just reaching out to agents and having meetings and conversations and Zooms. Um, but that's where I started thinking, if I could monetize what I'm doing and bring more value through coaching, and then that conversation would flop over to EXP very, very easy. Here's the other thing. I don't know about you guys, but I find that a lot of agents are really struggling financially right now. And so my conversation about the coaching and my coaching program is just shy of $8,000 for the year. So it's a pretty big nugget. And so I have people say I can't afford that. And that's where I have the conversation. Well, I understand you can't afford this, but do you see the value? Do you see how I could help you become, financially stable? You would have income that you don't have today. Yes, yes, yes. But I can't afford it, Randy. Okay. Well, you're a Coldwell Banker today at Remax, whatever. How badly do you want to make this change? And if it's just about the money, then tell me it's just about the money. I really want to do this. That's when I then have a conversation about, would you be willing to move a brokerage to make this happen? Is the brokerage holding you back from making this? Well, it's not, the brokerage isn't holding back. I just need good coaching. Would you move to a different brokerage? So I'm still not talking EXP. I'm just talking about making a move to a better place. And so I'm in dialogue with a few people with that concept of bringing them to EXP. And then I greatly reduce the coaching to bring them over. So there's that piece too. But I think it's better to have them join where they're at, give them great value, and then that conversation about moving to EXP happens in 2, 3, 4 months.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Kelly, you're going to follow up on that?
Yes. So on your coaching, Randy, then your $8,000 program, talk to me a little bit about what you're coaching them to.
So all 30 years that I've done, I've got everything that I've done, all my presentations, all my tools, resources white labeled so they can use it in the back end. But the foundation of the whole program is really about that avatar, which not many people coach on. And, you know, I asked the question, so have you ever been part of a coaching program? Yes. And were you part of lead gen programs? Yes. And they were helping you or providing or helping you generate hundreds of leads a month? Yes. And how did that turn out? Not so good. Right. I only want to put 10 or 12 leads in your inbox a month. But these are the people that are saying you're my chosen agent. So I walked through a process of chosen versus chump. I have the chosen versus the chump. The chump, we've all been the chumps. Those are people that get taken advantage of. Realtors, I've been a chump so many times. In fact, I've been a chump so many times that I've probably lost $10 million, $10 million of my time over 30 years, being in rooms at kitchen tables I shouldn't have been at because I was always going to be the chump. They were never going to work with me, yet I would go to the exercise of being in that room and not asking the right questions.
Mm.
And I'd leave the listing appointment going, hey, that went pretty well. They just loved everything I said, and they said they're going to get back to me. And then the next day, they call you and say, we've chosen somebody else. Chosen versus chump. Or you get those clients that you spend hours, days, weeks, months, years with,
Mhm.
and you get so tired of them that you cut your commission just to get them out of your life to make a deal. Who's done that besides me? Like, I got to get these people out of my life. They're killing me. And I didn't fire them. I should have fired them.
Mhm.
So, the foundation of what I do, Kelly, is really teaching people about the chosen versus the chump, understanding human behaviors, and then making sure they understand who they are and their passion lanes. And I want to make sure that they're working in their go zone, which is just so much fun. I often say I took a Gene Frederick saying, I like to make real estate fun again. I like to make lead gen fun again. And so it's about just working in their passion lanes because it doesn't feel like work. And then the perfect avatar, which really becomes not just an acquaintance, but friends, because there's such a connection there because of you're working with the same passion lane. It could be a senior, it could be a move up, move down, but these are people that you really get. And because they've chosen you, they've chased you, they've hunted you, they've said, you're my chosen agent. Those conversations are so easy. And from start to finish, the commission, that opportunity of making those commissions is just so freeing and so easy. So that's the foundation of it. And then I just build all around that.
Okay, so you created basically a funnel system where you're maybe doing Facebook ads to attract now agents to your
Yes.
system to help them grow their
Yeah.
business. And then hopefully they value you and you're able to have that EXP conversation. Is that kind of how it goes?
Nailed it. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. And then as you shift from agents that are outside of EXP to inside of EXP, what kind of price reduction are you giving them off that 8,000?
I'm not. No,
Okay.
I'm teaching them how to see. I mean, $8,000. So the guarantee is 10x. I'm going to certainly 10x your investment, your ROI, but I'm going to give you an ROL too, return on life, because they're going to have you work with just the best people, the people that really want to work with you. So it's not always about the ROI, it's about the ROL, return on life. At least
Do you
that's
by
my.
chance have a any kind of series of questions that helps them narrow down their avatar? Because you kind of got two avatars. You can have more than that, but you got sort of a production avatar
Mhm.
looking for your right client, and
Yeah.
you got an attraction avatar. Do you have anything that you kind of give them, or hey, go through this little, series of questions that'll help you narrow down your avatar?
Well, we'll stay with the production side first. It is really about, it's not just about your passion lanes, but it could be the kind of people that you want to work with or your schedule. Like, I've taken lots of stay-at-home moms that want to get into real estate and their kids are now in school. And I would say, well, what are the hours that you can work? And they would say, well, I can work from 9 till 2. That's it. And then I've got kid duty after that. And I say, well, okay, if that is your hours, we need to go really, really hard and aggressive at those 9 till 2 hours. Who would be the best avatar for you? Seniors. Seniors can meet with you 9 to 2, 5 day, Monday to Friday. They don't want to see you after 5 o'clock. They're making dinner and they're in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock, right? So, you know, pick avatars that work for you. If you like to counsel and mediate people, you'd be perfect to be a divorce agent specialist and actually sell yourself as that. I love helping people working through a separation to divorce. This is my specialty. And so that's an awesome avatar because there's always at least 3 deals in that avatar. In fact, maybe 4. Now, let's even take that further. Do you work with all divorced couples? No. You get very specific. What's the divorced couple you want to work with? I wouldn't work with that younger divorced couple. I'd work with a divorced couple that's, if I was choosing, between 50 and 70, because, well, that's my age group, first of all. Kids are out of the house. There's way less emotion. It's probably been like, we had a great life, but we just grew apart and there's a lot less conflict. There's going to be a lot of equity in that property that they're selling. So to me, that's the perfect avatar. Where would I find those people? Well, I'd probably be doing some marketing around what does it look like if you're going through a separation when it comes to real estate? So you start building on that and you start that conversation early in separation, not divorce. So you're
Mm,
starting to build that relationship. And people need 6 to 8 hours of your content before they go, you're my chosen agent.
mm,
So they need to consume 6 to 8 hours of something. It could be print, it could be social, it could be YouTube, it could be uh, you know, an event that you put on for that avatar.
mhm.
So there's just lots of ways to do it. And really, again, it's no different in attraction. We just have to like spin it towards different agents.
Yeah. And when you brought up that other avatar, it could be that same avatar. She could go after other moms who also have kids that are now in school that could work from 9 to 2. But I like
Yes.
where you're going with that. So, okay, let's move it over. We've got just a few minutes over to the attraction side. Kind of
Like,
help.
look at Amy Gregory. If anybody knows Amy Gregory out of Phoenix, she has like picked her avatar like to the T when it comes to attraction. She's killing it with that avatar.
And what is her avatar?
Her avatar is women that are in the same situation as her. She's got a busy household. I think she's got 4 children. Is it 5 children? I don't know. Is it even 6? Anyways, she's just a powerhouse. So she's picking other avatars in real estate that are very similar to her. If you look at Gogo, Gogo's avatar is very similar to her, right? So go pick your avatar, pick your avatar, and then just work your avatar.
And working that avatar for everybody here, that could be maybe creating some social media videos around that particular avatar, right? And putting that kind of content out where you're continuing to bring the kind of client or avatar that you're looking for. So, other than newsletters, podcasts, I mean, that's what all of us need to really start to shift our focus. I
Yeah.
like where you're going with that because I keep hearing more and more about this the last 6 months. Find
Sean,
your ideal client. You won't feel like you're working if it's your
yeah.
passion and that's what you're doing.
Sean, I know you haven't done production, but there's a lot of agents that haven't done production that could be in your lane, could be your path. Like that would be an avatar that
Yeah.
very few people, and you're having such great success, you could show them the success outside of being production.
Yeah. And I may do a second avatar around that because I know that also is a narrow group, a smaller group, or at least there's those. And I know it's growing. I think that's growing every month because
Yes.
of our competition coming to the marketplace, everything that's happened about life can be totally different in 5 to 10 years. So I think all of us are going to start experiencing this attraction, guys, not just with EXP, now with all these other companies popping up. I like the idea of narrowing down to what kind of person, what kind of avatar are you looking for to join your team? Start putting out materially around that so
Yeah.
you start to attract those and bring value to those agents.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Kind of a different approach than a lot of us have probably heard here. We've been doing this the last several months. So brings a whole nother perspective, Randy. Anybody got one last question for Randy before we jump off here? Got about a minute. All good? All right, Randy, man, sincerely appreciate you, brother. Congratulations on your success. I know you and I might be talking, I hope, over the next few months regarding this funnel thing as I'm going down that path with you. Would you like me to send you this video over so you can do some stuff with it on social media or?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Very, very cool. Well, man,
Yeah.
thank you again. Thank you everybody for
You're
coming.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
An awesome week, hey, everybody. Nick Krim tomorrow morning, Tuesday. Let's get caught up on all the latest AI. So everybody jump on Tuesday. Other than that, guys, thank you so much. Have a blessed day. And Randy, thank you, brother. I'll send it over once I get it. Okay? Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Randy.
You're welcome.